That's right. That's right. Shout out to all the Neo-Ologists out in the YouTube Matrix tonight. We have a long anticipated show ready for all of you. Um, yeah, I don't even know where to start. I mean, there's just so much that we have to cover. But welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope everyone had a happy holiday, a safe holiday. Um, our gift from Lana Wachowski was the Matrix Resurrections. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. We are here right now with our resident advisor at Vesuvius MXO. Say hello to the class.
Greetings, Red Pills. Very exciting. I'll let Lazarus lead us along the way here, but lot to talk about.
Yeah, I just tweeted out to the Twitter Matrix that we're live. So I remember to do that. Hopefully, Alias Trinity is joining us right now. Let me see. Look at that timing. Look at that timing on the Red Queen. We just getting
Pretty good,
started.
hey?
Oh dear. Um, say hello to the class, Miss Trinity.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm super excited to talk new movie with all of you guys. Finally out of the spoiler zone, and we're ready to go.
You're free to fly. You cleared for takeoff?
Cleared for takeoff, ready for my mescaline.
That is the only way to fly. But
Yeah.
it is time to fly, Neo-Ologist. And I said on the community tab that I'm not letting that go until Lana Wachowski herself. I'll accept David Mitchell or Alexander Hemon clearing up the origin of that phrase, but the Neo-Ologist reference, for those of you who were here during our last live stream, Matrix Explained YouTuber in the Matrix universe space was kind enough to join us and pointed out, because he had already seen the movie at this time last week, and he pointed out that reference, the Neo-Ologist reference. So, when he said it in the live, I didn't have any context for it. No one else had mentioned it in any of the spoilers I had seen. So, I wasn't sure what to make of it. But when I saw it myself in the theater, it was like, no, they didn't. So, so here we are. In fact, that could be the first thing to talk about while we let people kind of join us in the room here. And if you haven't already, please like the stream. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you doing with your life? Definitely hit the subscribe button. But yeah, like the stream. So here on I have a poll up on Twitter and on the YouTube community tab. See if I can share the screen here. So on Twitter, you can see I asked if the Neo-Ologist was a low-key Matrixologist, yellow-pilled. Shout out to Matrix University. And on Twitter, we have well, let me do it. Like Twitter, let's see. I think it's, if I look at this one. Right. So on Twitter, it's like 80 something percent. And then on YouTube, the same question is like 76% yes. So most of you guys seem to agree that was a shout out to us at Matrix University. So, like I said, with Matrix Explained, bringing it to our attention, and you guys, the majority of you guys seem to agree. Like I said, unless somebody from the Matrix franchise officially corrects that, we are Neo-Ologists moving forward, and I am proud of it. Yeah. Jonathan Morris says the Neo-Ologist quote made me smile. Me too. So let's I don't know where to begin. We've got so much to talk about. I mean, where do we begin here? Oh, right. So here I have this is a Collider article where they interviewed James McTeague. So one of the big questions that has come up since the Matrix Resurrections is there going to be a Matrix 5? So they kind of asked him what he thought. And it seemed like he kind of like kept asking them, which was kind of weird. Or rather tried to reword the question to get a different answer. Right, here we go. So he says, because I'm not going to get to talk to Lana, and I've been very curious about this. Do you think that Warner Brothers, because I know they've asked her repeatedly to do another Matrix movie, do you think they were going to move forward on another Matrix movie with or without Lana? How close did they come to saying, if you don't want to do it, we're just going to make one? Which, of course, there was a meta reference in the film that he's referencing here. The whole Warner Brothers is going to do it with or without us line, which I thought was interesting, and I'm sure we'll circle back to that. But James McTeague, who was the producer and I believe unofficial co-director, because you can only have more than one director if you have the same surname.
I don't know. I haven't heard that.
No, that's a thing. It's I
it is?
believe. Yeah, I believe it was in an earlier James McTeague interview.
And he's in the movie too, right?
Yes, he is Neo.
Yes.
Well, excuse me. He is an altered DSI.
Mm-hmm. His wife is too.
That's his wife. Thank you. I wasn't sure if that was his wife, his daughter. I didn't catch that. But
I believe it's his wife. But anyways,
that's the thing. They got the same last name, but I didn't.
Yeah.
She's not on IMDb, so like finding stuff on her was like not possible.
Yeah.
But McTeague's answer was, look, I think when you've had a franchise with that much potential money-making capability, there's always talk. It's in the same way that the Marvel Universe repeats and turns in on itself, or you have Spider-Man, or you have Iron Man, or Thor. There's always a potential to update those movies just because of the possibility of making the money and telling new stories. I shouldn't say it's purely a fiscal thought. But yeah, look, there was versions out there, but they hadn't landed on the right version. So when Lana eventually came back around and said, look, I'm interested in making another movie, of course, they went to the filmmaker who was the genesis of The Matrix. Right. So this is more the question that I was setting up, though. He said, the question is because for a few years before Lana said she was going to make it, there was a lot of talk about people working on different versions of Matrix scripts. So I got the vibe that they were getting ready to move forward on something with or without Lana. But I'm happy with Lana. But I'm happy that Lana came back. McTeague's reply was, yeah, that was real. There were versions out there, but I guess the fates dictated that Lana's story came at the right time, and Warner Brothers were willing to move forward with that story. He then asks or said, I read that Hugo Weaving was in consideration to come back for Agent Smith, but it was a scheduling thing. How close did he come to actually being back in this movie? And McTeague's answer was, there was always the Smith character in there. Hugo is a friend of both of ours of long standing. If we had a way of getting Hugo into the movie, we would have, but it didn't work out. That's just what happens in showmaking sometimes. Schedules can't work out. So he kind of verified the whole scheduling conflict. Real quick. Oh, okay. There's a couple here. So real quick. Thank you for the super chat. Luchador 1764 says, let's be honest, this sucked big. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I do appreciate the super chat. But we'll get into that. Aaron Lindsay says, everything about this movie was awesome. Ignore the haters. Let's hope we get a Matrix 5. So you see, right there's perfect. Again, thank you both for the super chat. It's greatly appreciated. But right there, you have both sides of the coin. I mean, people are entitled to their opinion. And just like the original trilogy, I mean, it's just, it's not going to be for everybody. It's one of the things I love about this franchise is its boldness and ability to do something different. Beverly, I see you. Shout out to Beverly. Good evening, Yellow Pillar here. Glad to have you here. I missed all of you greatly. I'm looking forward to tonight's discussion. Okay. He said, DVS Lord says, I thought the kid was supposed to be in it, or was he? Right. IMDb has him credited. I did not notice him in any of the projected flashbacks from the quote unquote trilogy game. So, and I've said this many, many times, IMDb is not 100% accurate before a film comes out. They're reporting on whatever they have, but it does not look like we had any audio or video of the kid in flashbacks in this. And, maybe there was something that got edited out, just like Daniel Bernhardt was supposed to be in a scene that got edited out. So maybe the kid was originally going to be in a flashback and it didn't make the final cut. That's all speculation. I don't know, but yeah. So hopefully that answered your question. I did not see him. And yeah, he says a kid might be featured in a deleted scene. Maybe. I mean, honestly, we don't usually get a whole lot of deleted scenes in the DVD extras, so we'll see if that shot ever comes to light. But if there is said scene that was cut, I can almost, I'd say with 90% certainty, say that that was a scene from the original trilogy that would have been used as a flashback. I do not think that they shot any new scenes with the kid, with Clayton Watson at his current age, because if you check the Clayton Watson interview here on this channel, his tone was very much that he would be excited to do more, but it did not sound like he had done any new shooting for the Matrix universe. Okay, so we jumped into the comments real quick here, but I know we have a lot to talk about. So, where do we begin? Yeah, I think I got through all the McTeague stuff. Right, and we talked about how he was the version of Thomas Anderson that Bugs saw leaping from the building. So I guess that's something interesting that happened in this one, was the whole switch from analog RSI, residual self-image, to digital DSI, digital self-image. So Vesuvius, what were your thoughts on that little swap there? I guess that was early enough in the film. I don't know that we have to go in order or anything, but
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool touch, that the machines could kind of hide him by I guess putting some kind of shell over his RSI, or changing his digital signature. Uh, Now, I've only seen the movie twice, so so I haven't absorbed everything, in these little details. But seeing McTeague there as his DSI when he was like up on the roof, and Bugs was washing the windows. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And how they talked about it later, how they were hiding his DSI to hide Neo from everyone else. And like they were searching for all the Thomas Andersons at the Deus Machina machine video game company. So to see McTeague there was a pretty cool touch.
your thoughts, Trinity?
Um, I agree with everything. I did have a potential reason why the switch from RSI to DSI, and I felt maybe the DSI refers to when the machines are doing it versus when you're doing it yourself and it's the RSI, but obviously I don't know, but I can't really think of any other reason why to change it.
Oh no,
But
that's fair. I mean, I don't. I think
that's my guess, but I
I
thought
think
it
they
was an
can.
interesting touch.
I think they can both be true. It's one of those
Hmm.
non-linear things.
Very true. But as someone who has seen the movies so many times, it stands out right away that that's not right. That's different.
Yeah, different.
Yeah.
and that was my biggest takeaway. I left. I get it. Like, I'm in this kind of weird space because of glitch, and we'll get into some of that. But one of the things that I left with after leaving the original Matrix, after leaving Reloaded, after leaving Revolutions, and after leaving Resurrections, the consistent feeling that I felt when I left the theater all 4 times under the first viewing was that this was something different. I witnessed something different 4 different times in cinema. And to me, that by itself is worthy of an award. Like, the fact that this woman can keep, I mean, I get it. Her sister was part of that process, with the first 3 as well. But the fact that, that is something part of her artistic signature, I can appreciate as a creative, because that's one of the things that drove me to be a creative, is just this kind of desire to want to break the mold or break outside of the usual formula. Like, you know, there's a reason why these things are successful, and we have to follow this formula, and we have to hit all these beats, and we have to follow the arc the same way, and all this stuff. And it's like, sometimes it just gets like boring, predictable. And that's part of the formula, right? But I personally like things to have their own flair or their own signature, and I definitely felt Resurrections had that. So,
Mhm.
and I think that they all have it, but they're all different. You know, again with the original Matrix, it was this kind of like jolt of philosophical concepts and the cave allegory and all that stuff that we all know so well. And then with the second film with Reloaded, there was the deconstruction of everything we learned or thought we knew in the original Matrix, which I think is why a lot of people that rejected it. And then in Revolutions, you get this introduction, or rather this invitation to actually participate as an audience member. I know a lot of people say we become Neo or you become Neo. That's a way to word it, but the way I word it is it becomes a choose your own adventure. And that's something that's unique to Revolutions. This filling of the gaps, this answering questions and coming up with your own answers aspect of that film. With Resurrections, it was more of a lot of it was the meta, you know, just this whole like the Matrix comic Get It, it was that whole thing. That aspect of it was done differently than I had ever seen before. Um, but for me personally, I mean, it just really reinforced or gave me even more hunger to want to create my own Matrix universe, head canons and fan fictions. And I don't know, it's hard to really fully articulate, but there was something about Resurrections. I guess it's the continuation of the open-endedness of the universe. There's something there that really motivated me or wanted me to create more Matrix fan fiction because the universe itself just has so many different ways that it can go, and Resurrections showed a version of that most of us didn't see coming. um and there was like some serious, really heavy, really strong Matrix Online vibes, and I think Vesuvius can speak to some of that a little bit as well. But yeah, that was something that was magical and special to me about participating in the Matrix Online. This feeling, this obligation to continue the story. And that's probably why I felt that in Resurrections, because there's so much of the Matrix Online in Resurrections. The crazy part is, for 2 years, I've been saying that the Matrix Resurrections is not going to be a live action version of the Matrix Online. And it wasn't. But
No.
what it was a remixed version of the Matrix Online.
And even I picked up on that, and I haven't played the game.
Right, it's there, but you dig deep enough. You've taken the yellow pill of research and information and knowledge, right? So you know enough about it to make those connections. I feel like a
Mhm.
lot of people don't have that background information, so they really missed out on this element that's in Resurrections, this experience. It honestly, I didn't know it was going to be there, but I'm really glad that Vesuvius does what he does, and that I've put this channel together, and that the archive is out there for the people who do want to know. Because the people who take the time to check that out and who checked it out before watching Resurrections, they're in for a treat, I think. And don't get me wrong, there are people who play the game who don't like Resurrections. That's going to happen, right? But I don't know. Like I said, I felt that connection to the Matrix Online, even though it was done in a way that they didn't say the Matrix Online or specifically point to something. Like I said, it was remixed, it was repackaged. But that didn't bother me. I definitely enjoyed that part of the experience, probably more than most. But I don't know. What do you think? Did we
Sorry, I'm
lose?
letting Vesuvius
I'm
chat
about to
on
say, did
that
we
because
lose
I haven't.
Vesuvius? Well, no,
Oh,
because I
Because
was talking Matrix Online, so that's why I was hoping he'd
yes,
chat in.
that's what I was waiting for.
yeah, I saw a lot of. I like the way you put it, remixed, because that one of the first questions I asked on Reddit was, "Is it still canon?" Even though I already asked Oranos in Discord, and he gave us a very straight answer, one that I wasn't particularly happy with, but I was like, well, I still got to see it for myself. So when people started talking about it on Discord, that was the first question I asked, and of course, I started right in with my arguments on how it could still be canon, but there's things that are too similar to be a coincidence. For example, the very first event in the Matrix Online was called the Race to Find the One. So Neo, before he's about to fight Smith in the Super Burly Brawl, splits up his RSI and into several pieces, and I don't know, through source magic, he spreads it out in the Matrix to be found once again in case he's needed. So in this movie, Neo creates a modal, and he creates Morpheus, and he leaves it open for somebody, not him because he's a copper top now, somebody to find Morpheus to wake up Neo. And I thought that Neo breaking up his RSI and creating a modal are very, very similar. There's a way to get Neo back in the future.
Yeah, and even well, real quick here because we're on the Matrix Online. But I saw this comment here, and it says because you were talking about something similar, and I was going to go to the general, and I see chalk it up to success says, but was confused on the remixed general. So, like Vesuvius was saying, there are things that are similar, right? So Niobe is called the general in Resurrections. The general is his own character in the Matrix Online, so they are different. But what I found interesting is the general in the Matrix Online is responsible for the Morpheus sim, and when we first see him in the Matrix Online, the first person he's in contact with is Niobe. So then in the Matrix Resurrections, Niobe's called the general.
Yeah, it's
Like,
it's one of those things where it's kind of like a nice nod.
right, exactly, and that's what I mean. It's like a nod to soaking up those elements of the Matrix Online story that they did use. But right, that was the next comment here. It says Matrix Online was canon until Resurrections came out. So I think that this is like, how did I say it to Oranos? I think I said Niobe said just enough to erase the Matrix Online as canon, but she also said, or she also didn't say enough to erase the Matrix Online as canon. So basically, if you want to go down that route, you can, but you don't have to. I like VJ Vendetta says Matrix Online was definitely echoed in Resurrections. I like that word echoed. That's, echo is the Ellen Hallman version of Trinity, right? I like that though. I think that word echoed really fits the energy of Matrix Online that I felt in Resurrections. But right, so what we were going to do here is we were talking about Niobe's quote, which I have here somewhere. Can I share this on the screen? Let's see here. Hold on one second. All right, here we go. So here, and that's it's 2 lines. It's literally 2 lines. Okay. Now she says, I've been waiting for you to ask that question. All of the trouble started in the machine cities. Power plants were unable to produce energy. Nothing can breed violence like scarcity. For the first time, we saw machines at war with one another. We got word from the Oracle of a new power rising. That was the last we heard from her. Neo asks Morpheus. After the siege, he was elected unanimously high chair of the council. How he loved that. But as rumors of this new power spread, he ignored them. He was certain what you could he was certain what you had done could not be undone. All of these people never stopped believing in miracles, believing in you. So, as we know, in the Matrix Online, Morpheus was not given the title of High Chair of the Council in the game. However, Niobe says after the siege. So that's real non-specific. Is she talking about the siege in Revolutions? Is she talking about a later siege that we never saw? If she's talking about the siege in Revolutions, Morpheus could have gotten that title, High Chair of the Council, before the Matrix Online even started. The bigger issue, I think, is the whole the energy crisis, because we know that that's on the timeline beyond the Matrix Online. So the real question then becomes, in terms of canon or not canon, at what point did they first hear of this quote unquote new power? Or the other route you can go is, we never found Morpheus's body. And with the open-endedness of the end of the Matrix Online, you know, who knows, or who's to say that Morpheus didn't return, right? There's nothing that says he did. There's nothing that says he didn't. So in that regard, like I said, I feel like she said enough that if you want to say it's not canon, then say it's not canon. But like I said, I feel like she didn't specify enough details for you to say everything's erased either. That said, it's not like the Wachowskis sitting there saying, hey, we made a Megasmith because we just wanted to make a video game. Now, if you erase the Matrix Online, then Enter the Matrix is the only video game that, you know, is canonical in that way. But with the Matrix Online, like I said, there's so much of it in the Matrix Resurrections indirectly that, you know, now I feel like the canon argument or debate is like real semantics at this point. You know, I mean, as much as it pains me to say this, if you're going on the definition of the word canon, the Path of Neo is canon in the sense that it was made officially through Warner Brothers and with the Wachowskis. Now, from a storyline perspective, there are contradictions and changes, and that's why I don't call it quote unquote canon. But from just a pure definition standpoint, even the Path of Neo is canon. So there's so many aspects of this debate or conversation that I'm just gonna, like I said, take how I felt, and that there's so much Matrix Online energy in the Matrix Resurrections, and I'm like very happy to have been able to participate in it. So I'm not going to let that ruin my day. Like I said, I don't feel like there's any concrete evidence to say that none of it happened, because I was there, so it happened. But I feel like I've been rambling on about that. So if you guys got something you want to throw in there, go ahead.
Trinity?
I was just gonna say, I think I mentioned it before with
Well,
that
yeah,
idea
I'm
with
curious.
like
No, you go ahead,
with
because
like
I want to know, since you didn't play, what's your take on all of that?
like I mentioned before in a previous stream, I mentioned how you see that a lot in Marvel movies and DC movies, where there's so much lore and universe that you couldn't possibly put it all into the movies. So they kind of pick and choose little things that, if you don't know, it's not going to change your understanding of the movie that you're watching. But if you're someone who's been a longtime fan and has consumed all the material behind that story, you'll pick up on the little, almost like little Easter eggs in the story. So the second they start talking about the general within the first, 20 minutes of the movie, again, I haven't played it, but I know of the character. So my first thought is, oh, is that something they're going to explore later in the movie? You know, so it's just picking on those little things that people who are really, really into the universe will be able to pick up on while they're watching the movie.
Real quick here, VJ Vendetta had a great question. He said, new power rising has to be the analyst, right? Surpassing the architect.
That's what I assumed.
That's what I assume as well. It could be specific to the energy crisis, but even the analyst says that he came into power after the energy crisis, right? But the point that I was going to make here is, timeline wise, you know, back to this whole canon thing, that rumor could have come, you know, prior to the Matrix Online or started during the Matrix Online, because the analyst said, I was there the day you died. So the analyst was in the Machine City during Revolutions. So timeline wise, the rumors about him taking over could have started at the same time or before the Matrix Online.
I think that there's enough time for the power plant's energy production to wean off and like a civil war to happen while these events of the Matrix Online are happening. So I mean, I can make the shoe fit, but I mean,
Right.
it's kind of not up to me. I guess in a way, it's up to each and every one of us. It's whatever you want to believe, but I'm really hopping from one foot to the other on this one. I really am.
Yeah, I like this. Aaron Lindsay says the suits the oligarchs? Question mark. V, do you have any thoughts on that one?
I don't have any thoughts on that. I tend to not think so because it seemed like we were able to defeat them in the Matrix Online, even though
Oh,
that was kind of
weren't there
rather
the two
explained.
friendlies though
Uh,
that came
yeah,
after
yeah, they were.
Halborn and yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of looked like how Morpheus looked in the movie, except they
Hmm.
were except they were like a pink and a blue, but and also they were inside the Matrix. But again, similar look. What else? Yeah. So yeah, the suits. Maybe the oligarchs. The oligarchs is actually a really good story. Um, the way I explain it is it didn't come across very good in the Matrix Online, but like if you were reading a novel, then it's like, oh, this is like really good. Um, but I don't think that the suits were the oligarchs. I think if anything, they're um, I guess bigger machines like Deus Ex Machina, and they mentioned other machine cities. So
Oh
there's
yeah, that happened, and I did not miss that the first time she said it.
yeah.
And when I say the
So
first time she said it, meaning I've seen the movie 4 times. Go ahead.
Me too.
so there's clearly, well, not clearly, but my take on that is there's a network of machine cities, and each and every one of them have their own power plants. Do they all have their own separate matrix?
I don't think
And
so. That's not
how
the
are those
idea.
run?
That's not how I'm feeling about it. I think they're separate machine cities, but just like we're all using the same web, right? It's just one matrix. If I had to guess, based on what we've seen.
Well, okay, and that makes pretty good sense. But if you were a robot, why would you put all your eggs in one basket? Why not have several different matrices? And then if that one is thriving, well, we'll just copy that model.
Okay, so to answer your question, if that's the case, then how are they going to copy the Neo and Trinity model that the analyst was bragging about having this great productivity? You know what I'm saying? Like that would be the only city with that model.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole. How long are we going to go for tonight? Because I got a lot of thoughts on that.
Well, real quick, Jeremy says, was IO built in the location of the original 01 Machine City from the Animatrix? So I would highly recommend that you watch the second Renaissance Animatrix video on this channel in the YouTube Animatrix playlist, because it is my I guess theory that Zion is 01. The original Zion that we saw in the trilogy is the same space as 01. If you want to call it underground or a 01 bunker, sure, but I believe that 01 and Zion are the same. So IO is different than Zion. But you guys were saying? I
Oh,
didn't
I
mean
think I
to.
kind of tapered off with the Matrix. I'm sorry, the Neo and Trinity, and how would other instances of the Matrix copy that model when it's dependent on this particular Neo and Trinity? But yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on that part and a couple of questions too. But I don't know if we're gonna follow along in some kind of chronological order. I'm not gonna forget, but I'll let you take the lead.
Well, that's the thing. There's like so much to cover, right? That's why I didn't really know that we were gonna. I mean, we kind of already been jumping around a lot of bit. So, yeah, I don't know where to start at this point. I just been kind of reading comments.
Just start at the beginning of the movie
Hold
and
on.
go from there.
This is great. John Warhol with the clutch observation. Reverse 01 and you get IO. I'll look at that.
What's really going to blow your mind is if you put a Z and an N in there, you got Zion.
I like
yeah,
it.
the 0-1 is the numerical interpretation of the I and the O. So it's 0 and 1 is binary, and IO is input output, and they're basically the same, except the one's alpha and the other's numeric. So since my impression, and I may be wrong on this, is that IO is on the surface or closer to the surface, that maybe IO is the old 0-1.
Interesting. So now I'm trying. I've got to look. Where is the manuscript here? I'm gonna look for that line. So I'm looking for. Do they reference the sunlight inside of IO as a biodome?
They do. When they come in, they talk about how it's a biosky and it pulls up water from the crust and
Right. So okay. So bio sky to me, even though I get it that it's an artificial sky,
yeah, and they said it's like grow lights.
right? But when they're flying into it, and it's like hologram looks like something else. I mean, it kind of looks like the side of a mountain, right?
Yeah, because you can see the is it stalagmites or stalactites that are on top? I can't remember, but it has the rock spikes at the top.
At the top, though, so it could be underground.
I think it's definitely underground. That's how I took it.
So that can work then. Yeah, I'm looking at that, I guess, section of transcript here, and there's nothing specific to it being above or underground. He says it pulls water from the crust, hydrogenating the air. It balances the eco and our SRI cycles. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that would confirm or deny your claim.
I would say I'm literally looking up the difference between stalactites are the ceiling ones. You can see in the I teach science. What am I doing here?
The yellow pill is strong in you. Continue.
But yeah, you see in some of the clips when they're flying in, you can see the stalactites poking through the fake clouds. So that to me says it's still underground.
Yeah, Jeremy says 0-1 in binary equals 1 and 1-0 in binary equals 2. And Coconut Cream Pie says IO got that Wakanda stealth tech as well. I definitely mentioned that in the spoiler video, by the way. That's a great comment. So all right, so yeah, so IO could be and is most likely underground. But either way, I got so much New Zion energy from that whole part. Now we know New Zion was underground because there was like lava and stuff, right?
Yes. Yes, it was much deeper underground, much more fortified.
I here it says missing no film says I know I'm late, but did anyone else gasp at the general line at the start of the movie only to realize it was referring to Niobe, not the MXO character?
I don't know. They both have a scarred face.
That's what I'm saying. They definitely, it's like they merged Niobe, the general, and Locke, and that's what we got. So right, I didn't gasp because through my spoiler exploits, I already knew that Niobe was called the general, so it didn't like shock me. I knew who they were talking about already. But yeah, I did. Originally, I was wondering if Neil Patrick Harris was playing the general, before we knew who was playing who, before anybody knew that there was an analyst, right? So yeah, there was definitely strong general energy throughout the film because Niobe had the title but was still running Zion. I would say the analyst was the one who captured more of the Matrix Online general character than Niobe. But yeah, it wasn't that far. I mean, my guess for Neil Patrick Harris wasn't too far off. I mean, the part of him being the villain I got right anyway. But yeah, Vesuvius, we got a lot of stuff right. You know, looking back over the last 2 years. In fact, that's one thing I wanted to mention if I can find it here. Of course, I'm not prepared to find it. Well, we already looked for that. So let's go here. And I got to go all the way to the beginning. So where are you?
I gotta say, shout out to Starshwar who's in the chat, because when we did the original Matrix 4 podcast, fall 2019, like shortly after they announced this, just having his insight and like knowledge on the Matrix Online really helped shape my outlook on, the entire Matrix universe moving forward. And I think it was pretty darn accurate because I feel like I have a pretty good understanding, and like you said, we got a lot right.
Yeah, so that's I'm glad that was a perfect transition. And Starshore is one of the major reasons why I did the assassin video, and the assassin storyline is, or at least the part about Ramachandra being involved in the, what's that word, anomalium.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Anomalium.
Right, the project to resurrect Neo and Trinity. So that was something that was in the Matrix Online in that video, and then was in Resurrections as it was in the Matrix Online. So that's some Matrix Online canon for you, for all of those non MXO believers out there. Um, Flip side, even if you want to say that's the only thing that was canon, what I was looking for, I found, and that's here on this channel. If you go back 2 years ago, 2 whole years ago, my first plot leak video, Matrix 4 plot leak, you be the judge, says Matrix 4 audition plot leak suspect. So the audio in this video from the audition were actual lines in the movie that Andrew Caldwell said as Jude. I don't know that this audio exists anywhere on the internet, because when I made this video, by the time I made the video, the original videos were taken down. I think it was on Vimeo or something, but they had already scrubbed the evidence by the time I posted the video. So that is a legit leak from this channel from 2 years ago that ended up in the film, and crazy proud of scoring that leak. But yeah, just every time like I watched it in the movie, I'm like, I cannot believe that they actually used those lines. Like, I mean, because when I made the video, I'm like, okay, these are audition lines. There's, secretive as they're being about Project Ice Cream, there's no way this is going to be in the movie. It's in the movie verbatim. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, like, right. And the other one is the meeting with Morpheus, where I explain why I thought that the Yahya Abdul Mateen version would be a Morpheus sim based on the Matrix Online events, which he was. He just wasn't created by the General. In this case, it was created by Neo. Yeah. Neo-Ologists, we're in here believing. That's what we're doing. Okay, so yeah, we got so many tangents here, right? I read all the stuff that I had prepared for this. So where were we chronologically speaking? Hold on, this is
to the part.
Real quick. The Divine Matrix said, I'm glad they just came out with another film, honestly. Thank you. Like, I know not everybody's happy and things weren't specifically perfect. I don't know that I even believe in a word like perfection, to be honest with you. But like, yeah, I'm grateful and happy that we're here, that Neo-Ologists are a thing again, Like, that's what I wanted back. When I started this channel, before I even knew that there was a movie coming, that's what I wanted back. I wanted this community back. And now it's back because of this movie. So I'm cool with it. And I wasn't disappointed. So I'm sorry, you were saying, V?
I think we were getting to the part where they refer to Trinity as a MILF.
Jude,
Best
right?
part of the movie.
In the coffee shop, yeah.
Also, somebody on Twitter has taken that.
They made a meme out of it. Or
So,
what are we talking about here?
oh no, at Trinity's Matrix underscore goes by MILF Trinity.
Yep.
Nice.
And
A friend of yours, Miss Alias.
We chat in our fanfic Discord for sure.
Oh yeah, you digitally fist bumped. All right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So the coffee shop. Right. So do
oh,
we
wait a minute.
do we want to talk about Chad yet? Are we there yet? No.
Chad.
I want to back up a little bit.
All right, back it up. Back it up.
So I think what leads him to the coffee shop is he has a conversation with his boss partner.
Oh, we
Ross Smith?
skipped Smith.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
we
here's
skipped
my
this part.
question: Is
Skip
his
some.
boss? He's credited as Smith in the credits. Okay,
Yes.
is that his name? Because he calls Neo or Thomas Anderson Tom, but is his name Smith?
His name is Matt Hinges,
Matt Hinges. Thank you.
which is an anagram of Agent Smith.
Nice.
Yeah.
That. Look at
great.
that. TA coming with the Easter eggs.
That's what I'm here for.
So let's talk about this conversation that that he sits Neo down.
Oblivious is how it starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a budget meeting at 4, is what it was.
Right. To which Neo, or excuse me, Tom says that he knows binary is over budget.
But that's not what they're there to talk about.
It is not. But binary is the game that he's working on while his modal is running in the background. So, right. So we sit down for this meeting, and Matt Hinges tells Tom that their parent company, Warner, is demanding that they make another trilogy. Your thoughts before I get into, I got something to say about this. So you guys go ahead.
I thought it was fun. A lot of people hated it from what I've seen, but I loved that. And I thought it was just a fun way to poke fun at the fact that Warner's been asking the Wachowskis to make a new one for the last decade.
Vesuvius?
I think overall I did not like this. Okay. I was worried about the movie being meta. When they do this in movies, I don't know. I just don't buy into it, I guess. It's like, why would I buy into it if you're just going to reveal it to me as not what, like I want to get lost in the story. So when it's meta, I don't love it. So I didn't love this part. However, I know that you've been talking about basically what he says is, they gave Lana an ultimatum, and we had this script. I'm forgetting the filmmaker now. The script on the desk in front of him.
Zach Penn, writer
Zach Penn.
of Ready for Player One. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like Ready Player One. However, I think that was the only thing that made it work, is that this is kind of known that they're gonna do a reboot. They're gonna do a Young Morpheus movie. It's gonna be um what's his name from Creed and Killmonger. Um, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name.
Michael B. Jordan.
Thank you, Michael B. Jordan. Uh, I mean, we've been hearing about this for years now. So then we have this event in Lana's life, and she decides she's going to make another Matrix movie. So is she sticking it to Warner Brothers in Warner Brothers' own, high budget movie? Because I mean, that's pretty gangster.
So, okay. there was a comment here, but they're going kind of fast, so I'm probably not going to find it. So with this Warner Brothers reference, so here's the funny thing, or the interesting thing to me. When I was in the theater, everyone else laughed at all the meta jokes. Okay. Whenever they made a meta joke, the Warner Brothers scene we're talking about now, people were laughing at all that stuff. Whenever I laughed out loud, I mean, there was stuff that I laughed at that other people laughed at, but when I laughed out loud, I was the only one laughing.
I felt the same way.
Because there's stuff in there for the hardcore fans that the casual
Mhm.
fan is not going to pick up on, like at all. They don't
Yep.
see it at all. So specific to this Warner Brothers reference in this scene, the first thing, my initial reaction was, how much of this is a joke? You know, I mean, that's kind of the gangster reference you're making here. It's a good transition. I mean, I don't mind it if you're that brave, if you're that bold, if you got it like that. I'm not mad because, you know, I got my own reservations about super big corporate engines. I've heard good things about Warner. I've heard bad things about Warner, just like most large movie studios. You know, nobody's perfect, right? But like you said, or like they said in the movie, they've been asking for this for a very long time. It also made me think, because you mentioned the Zach Penn script, you know, the last time he spoke on it, which is probably over a year ago on Twitter, he said that his script was still very much on the table. I don't know exactly what that means, but after watching that scene, I felt like it wasn't on the table anymore. If that makes sense. But yeah, so I didn't hate the joke, but like I said, there's this kind of this get it energy, right? That Matrix comic.
Yeah.
And you know, the Peter Page comics were my least favorites. But I felt that the meta in the film, you know, these jokes, these angles, these references, they didn't rub me the wrong way the way they did with Get It. And to some degree, it's comic relief either way. But I don't know. There was just something about the style of it this time that I felt again was unique and something different and something that I hadn't seen. Yeah, no, there was, because I know I'm jumping around, right? Because we were talking about the meetings. So, right, in this meeting, Matt tells Tom that they have to make another Matrix trilogy. And that if they don't, they're going to kill the contract and do it without them. Now, I don't know how much of that is true. I imagine if that part of it was true, Warner would have done that a while ago. I don't know the contractual language, though. So, again, that's just my instinctive prediction there. But as far as the follow-up meeting, now that they're working on the game, you know, after the analyst meeting, you know, I definitely felt like there was this aspect, you know, while they're talking about where the game should go or whatever, that, you know, Lana, in fact, I think that might have even been in a James McTeague interview that I was reading. I'll see if I can find it here, but almost this or maybe I did read it, that part where he's talking about, yeah, I think I read that, the part where he's talking about James McTeague is mentioning that, yeah, then in the boss's office, when we talk about Warner Brothers and they're going to make another sequel, all that meta stuff that you said, that was just us having a bit of fun with what everyone's opinion of what the Matrix is, whilst in the middle of what the filmmaker who invented the Matrix actually thinks the Matrix is. So James McTeague talks about it in this interview, but even while I was watching the movie, I kind of felt that energy, because it's funny, like as a Matrix content creator, I see that. I literally see people literally actually say they know more about the movie than the people who made the movie, which is just like absurd crazy to me. So that's just my personal experience. That scene didn't take it that far, but there are people who take it that far. And to me, that was, I guess, the, I don't want to say selling point, but the part that was like abstractly unique to me in that part of the meta scene, is just this whole idea of everybody saying what the Matrix is to, in this case, Tom Anderson, who created the Matrix. So it's like you're telling him what it is. Really? That's how y'all feel? You know, but it's a real thing though. This is coming from an experience that Lana Wachowski at some level has had. So
There's a South Park episode about that.
about what specifically? I haven't watched South Park in a while.
They're talking about The Catcher in the Rye and all of the interpretations. So
Okay.
the kids make this stupid book and it goes like viral and everyone's like obsessed with it. The end.
I didn't want to cut you off. Like I said, I haven't.
Good story. Good story.
It's no knock on South Park. Like, I think South Park is hilarious. I just haven't watched TV shows regularly in a while. But
Me neither.
but yeah, but right. But what we were talking about is this the whole Lana Wachowski, you know, putting herself or at least that piece of her experience with this franchise into the film. And, you know, that might have rubbed people the wrong way, but again, like, I can respect when a writer is putting themselves into it. Even Neo said when Trinity asked him, you know, did you put yourself, or was that you? Was it based after you in the game? And he said, you know, maybe I put too much of me into it. You know, and that can be a thing, right? You know, maybe Lana put too much of herself into this for most fans, or as I like to call them, casual fans. But I don't think that she put too much of herself into it for the hardcore Neo-Ologists. Yeah, you're going to hear that a lot from me over the next several. But again, I thank all of you who are here, all of you fellow Neo-Ologists, making this such a fun and exciting time. It was a really, really cool Christmas present. So yeah, so okay, so what is after? We're only at Smith. So right, and we kind of skipped over the analyst to jump to,
And we skipped the coffee shop a little bit too.
yeah. Well, we mentioned the Jude part, right, because I mentioned Chad, but then we went another direction. And all right, so somebody flip a coin.
Just
We're
go in
going-
order. Go in story order.
Okay, so then I guess we got to jump back to the coffee shop because that's before the analyst.
Yes.
So what coffee shop observations did you want to share, Miss Trinity?
I don't know if there's observations. I just wanted to go in order of the film.
Real quick, Matrix Remix, shout out to you. He says, nice seeing you guys at Club Vibe. Thank you so much for coming out, man. Like, really appreciate it. It was a special time for me. You know, just being able to share that moment with people in the real world, and you know, teamwork makes the dream work. So thank you for coming. Yeah, good time. We'll come back to Glitch though, because we got some resurrections to talk about still yet. So the coffee shop for me. Oh, V, was there any Simulate things you wanted to bring up? This is, and we're still on the first meet. We're still on the MILF and Jude. And do we see Scroce yet? No, we don't. We don't see, or we might see him, but he doesn't speak until the next time when they meet to hang out or whatever.
Oh, is that the husband?
Scroce is the
Chad.
barista. Chad is the husband. So yeah, let's talk about Chad. Yes, Scroce.
I don't like Chad.
Scroce, aka the Bug. The name comes from Steve Scroce, who was the storyboard artist for all of the Matrix movies. And there's an interview with him on this channel. It's got the Wolverine thumbnail. It's a really good interview. If you haven't seen it, I definitely highly recommend you check it out. I congratulated him on his success on Instagram. He actually liked that, so I think he's a cool dude. Where were we before the Scroce thing? Right. So Scroce,
Chad.
aka the Bug. Well, because Aaron Lindsay brought this up just real quick, and we already talked about the meeting. So everybody knows of the 4 Sense 8 main characters who have main characters in the Matrix Resurrections, but Scroce was actually the bug in Sense8, and what's her character name? One of the ladies in the Deus Machina meeting was also a character in Sense8. Of course, I'm not going to be able to think of her name right now. But yeah, that happened. So technically there were 6 Sense8 actors in The Matrix Online. It's just that 2 had really, really small parts and not a whole lot of lines. You guys continue while I look for her name, because now it's going to kill me that if I don't have her name.
Okay, so I looked up the meaning for the name Jude, who is Tom's friend.
Judas.
That's what I said in the chat.
I couldn't believe I didn't piece that together, but yeah, Judas. So
Judas is not your friend.
Well, and I said that there wasn't going to be in one of the spoiler live streams, or maybe it was a spoiler video. I said there wasn't going to be Judas energy, but that was specific to Lexi, because I had said that earlier, that prediction earlier, just because of the poster. So yeah, he was the Judas energy in the Matrix Resurrections, and I did find that name. Her name is in the movie. Her name is Astra. I don't know that they ever call her by name, but she's the one with the glasses in the meeting. But her real name is Freema Agyeman, and she's definitely in Sense8. So yeah, lots of Sense8. And Michael X Summers is the real name of the bug who played Scrooge, the barista at the coffee shop, who later Smith turns, how would you even say that? Turns back from?
Morphs out of,
transitions from, like, I don't even know how you describe
abandons.
that. What just happened?
Unhosts.
And that's also some day in, day out energy, the Matrix comic Day in, Day Out, which features Agent White, who we saw at the beginning of this film. So I thought that was cute, the little Agent White reference.
Mm-hmm.
That too is a, what's that, Path of Neo reference, because Agent White is in Path of Neo as well. So there was a little Matrix universe Easter egg character stuff there.
Oh, side note that you're gonna hate, but my husband the other day mentioned about the ants. The ants are back.
Where?
What is a swarm but a collection of ants?
I mean, you reaching right now. Yeah, I say I got a swarm of wasps outside. Like,
the ant gang lives on. Ant gang lives on.
I don't know. I thought I was pushing with Aunt Rachel.
Hold on. That's Freya in the Matrix.
John's on my side in the chat.
In IO. I mean, you guys can keep your life size, your adult size ants. Like, you can have that. I'm not trying to take it from you, by all means.
No, they're not in the movie because Neo beat them all. It's canon.
MILF ants.
Oh, I'm sure one did a front flip to flee the scene. Oh boy. Okay, so we talked about Scrooge. We still haven't talked about Chad. So Chad, okay. Chad, dude, we have to mention Chad, because in my opinion, that is the most meta moment of the entire movie.
That's what I said. Did you see my tweet about it?
You have, first of all, hold on. We got to give everybody the whole picture. So for those of you who don't know, in The Matrix Resurrections, Trinity's fake blue pill handler husband, his name is Chad. In the real world, his name is Chad. So you have Chad acting like a Chad when his real name is Chad.
Yep.
Like, that is meta as it gets. Now,
sorry if any of you guys are named Chad.
Hey,
just a fact of life.
Just what it is. It's
sorry.
Pop culture reference, whatever. But his name is Chad Stahelski. I always have trouble with his last name. In the original trilogy, he's Neo's stunt double. Okay. In one of the interviews with Carrie-Anne Moss, she said that the kids playing her kids, or her and Chad's kids, she thought could pass for Keanu Reeves' kids. And then, like I said, Chad Stahelski is one of the founders of 8711. That's the stunt crew that Ellen Hallman works with, and Daniel Bernhardt, and they are responsible for the John Wick films. Chad Stahelski is a writer director on the John Wick films, and obviously Keanu Reeves is the star of that. So there's like all these connections in this one little character. So yeah, I mean, it's just like meta on top of meta on top of meta when it comes to husband Chad here. Right. And yeah, I didn't notice it till the second time. Right. So what was that, like a sticky bun or something?
Yeah, the
'Cause, right,
morning bun.
morning bun, because the kid was like, the child was asking her about it,
Yep.
and then Chad just comes in and takes it and eats it, right?
Yeah, and then her face. Her face when he does that. And when you hear more about how awful Chad is, you know this is shit that he does all the time. And he is just the worst. And all he does is take. We
Coconut
don't
How-
like
how
we
does
don't
he
like
have-
Chad around here.
Coconut Cream Pie said he's being a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
What is this, Tropic Thunder?
Oh boy.
So one
Handsome
when
Chad. No. Sorry, I'm just
when
looking at the
Jude
chat.
when Jude introduces Tiffany to Tom, what does her older son say to them?
Was you
Are
trying to
you
bone my
trying
mom?
trying to blow my mom?
Blow or bone? What?
Bone.
I heard blow.
I definitely heard bone.
I didn't hear
It's
anything.
a kid lingo. Who
I'll
knows?
tell you. I'm about to say, yeah. Don't get me started on that. We trying not to get demonetized over here. But no, I will look at the
The
this.
transcript says blowed, is it not?
Well, so that's, it's funny that you say that, because I was just gonna say I don't like calling this the transcripts, because this is what I have in front of me is an incomplete converted version of the subtitles. Okay, I don't know about you, but I read a lot of
Is it
subtitles.
the link that I sent you or a different one
No, this is
that you
from
have it on?
matrixfans.net.
Okay, because
Now
I'm
he has
on Scraps from the Loft is where I found
now
mine.
he hasn't posted yet because it's not finished. And actually, I was trying to help with that project because I get it that it's an undertaking, and like I personally use the transcripts over there a lot, from the previous trilogies. So I would like to help because I feel like it's important work in the space that we're in. But what he has is a converted subtitle, and like I said, I don't know about you guys, but I read a lot of subtitles, and they get stuff wrong all the time. Like stuff is like, that's not what he said, So I don't want to say that this is the gospel. This is not a copy of the script.
Yeah,
But I gotta, okay, so
it's
right,
definitely ball is what everyone's saying, and that's what my transcript says. I just checked, so it's, are you trying to ball my mom?
ball. Yeah, okay. So I'm too old for that. Then I don't know what that
It's
means.
the replacement for cuff.
At least it's not a teabag reference. I mean,
I suppose. I'd rather him say ball than me trying to cuff my mom, so I'm okay with it.
I like bone. I heard bone. I'm
Me
trying
too.
to find it.
I still like bone better, but
Trinity's son is a young John Connors.
But that even really his kid though?
I don't know. I got the impression that they were all programs,
me
but
too.
then Chad got overwritten and his eyes turned to code. So maybe he was a copper top, but he was just overwritten.
Perhaps, because that happened with Kush as well.
Well, and that's the thing. They definitely refer to Kush as a handler. So I just kind of rolled
Yeah,
that over to Chad and just assumed that he was also a handler.
me too.
Second set of eyes.
Because they're everywhere, right? He said it's way easier. They're just all over the place.
Right. But that's the thing. If you say, I mean, if you're a mother, right, and your handler is your coworker, your kids, and your husband, I mean, where are you going and nobody sees you? I mean, like,
Yeah.
I guess she met Tom at the coffee shop once without everybody, but it wasn't long before she got a call about her kids needing her. So, Now you made a copper top reference at Project Matriculated, right, Vesuvius?
What did I say?
Just that I think you were talking about preferring that over blue pill. I'm trying to remember exactly what you said.
Oh yeah, I mean it's awfully nitpicky, but I think that there's just a difference when you get further into the lore. So like if somebody takes the red pill, then they are a red pill, like one word red pill. If somebody is in the matrix and they're oblivious, then they're copper top because they're basically a battery. Now, there's one Matrix comic where somebody chooses the blue pill. So she became a blue pill, one word blue pill. And with these Cypherites, like they all wanted to be blue pills. It's just it was too late for them. They were trying to chase down that reinsertion. So copper top, blue pill, kind of interchangeable, but you know, if you're gonna split hairs, you could use them, a little more specifically.
Yeah, no, I like the specificity.
Now,
That's what,
having said all that, Paul Chadwick has used blue pill to just mean copper top. So
correct.
um, I'll stay at half an arm's length away from that one and just throw my opinion out. But I'm not stepping on Mr. Chadwick's toes.
Well,
He's
and
an
that's what I was
official
gonna
guy.
say when you said it at Matriculated. That's what I meant to say, or thought to say rather. Just the whole blue pill thing. I always kind of chalked up as a Matrix Online reference. Now, obviously, in pop culture, choose red or blue. If you're blue, then you know you are part of the system or a slave to the system or however you want to word that. But like with the Matrix Online, like you're actually or supposedly propositioned with that choice, right? So, like I said, it's a subtle nuance. It's not super important, but there's a difference. All right, so we're out of the coffee shop. What's next? All right, all right. We go from the coffee shop to the Smith meeting. We talked about Matt, and right now we're at the analyst
Yeah.
because it turns out, because I know in the trailers a lot of people were wondering, oh, how is he closing his mouth like in the interrogation scene, which they referenced, one of those meta flashbacks. Right. So before I get into the analyst, what did you guys think of all the flashbacks? Because I've seen a lot of that flying through the Twitter feed and review comments and so on. What were your thoughts on that?
I really like them. And I know, like you said, a lot of people out and about, maybe a vocal minority, I don't know, but a lot of people aren't liking them. But I feel like the more that I've seen the film, again, I've seen it 4 times now, but the more I've seen it, the more they make sense to me. And the
Mm-hmm.
more they just seem, they didn't, it's not like they didn't make sense in the first place, but the more I see it, the more I'm like, these need to be here. They're not just here for the sake of being. So I really like them. And Lorenzo, yeah, you just put it up there. I think that they were really well placed. I think the moments they chose really pushed the narrative forward. And I think it really picked up on the bits and pieces of Neo's life that were the most traumatic to really show those connections of how he's struggling with the life that he's in right now.
V, did you have anything you wanted to say about the flashbacks before I jump in there?
I didn't really like them. I didn't like need them. I thought they used them too much. Um, I don't know. They're saying that he worked on a video game, but they're showing all these movie clips. Like
They're
I get
cutscenes
that
from the
that
game.
Right. No, I definitely,
yeah, I
because the
get
Enter
it.
the Matrix and the cutscenes, that you can even see here. Like, I definitely
Yeah,
got cutscene energy from the shots. And
yeah,
also remember, because the thing that messed me up is how did you make a game with your face in it and not make the connection? But that's not his face because of the whole DSI thing.
yeah. No, I like the Enter the Matrix reference there, and I think somewhere they said that I think the analyst said it. You tried to make a game that was indistinguishable to reality. So, I mean, I guess when I heard that, it all came together. But for me watching a movie, I thought it was a bit much for me.
Um, so I will say that I agree that they used it a lot. Now, I didn't get the feeling that they were overdoing it in the sense that, so for me, the criticism is like narration, right? When used properly, it's great, but when overdone, it's seen as tacky or lazy. I think what we're talking about in the flashback sense is more related to TV shows than movies. But, like when a TV series is nearing the end, sometimes the telltale sign is that there's like a lot of episodes with a lot of flashbacks. Okay.
Yeah, the clip episodes.
Right. Because they're running out of material. Okay. And that's what I'm saying. Like in this instance of the Matrix Resurrections, the flashbacks were so quick, like I didn't feel like it was cheating. Like they're not cheating us out of content. You know what I'm saying? Like usually when we're seeing it, it's over a present voiceover. Like you said, it's not a clip that we're just rewatching the
Mm-hmm.
original Matrix. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's
Like,
what I mean. Like, it's there for the plot. It's not just there for the sake of being there or to
and
talk about.
and a lot of it is just, him trying to remember.
Mm-hmm. Or being triggered by a memory,
Right. Triggered is a
by
good word.
something that's happening to him in person.
What did he say? You seem particularly triggered right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, Neil Patrick Harris was great. I might have seen a comment or two like referring to NPH like he was some kind of joke. I'm like, I don't know what you've been watching. Maybe
Yeah, I thought it was great.
maybe because of Harold and Kumar, which I thought he was great in. So funny.
He was
So funny,
good in
dude.
that.
So
He was
funny.
so
Like
good.
that's what I'm saying. Like to me, he was so good in this. Like a lot of the stuff that I was laughing at by myself were his lines.
Yeah, I got
But
effectuator vibes out of him. The
dude,
effectuator, one of the Merovingian's exiles, a very powerful one. When he was using bullet time against Neo, I was like, oh, like yeah, this is like full effectuator right now.
no, I don't disagree with you. In fact, I had when I thought of the effectuator, I immediately thought of you. Now, when we were way back when trying to figure out who's going to play what, and we knew Neil Patrick Harris was in it, I said the general, you said the effectuator, and he turned out to be the general meets the effectuator and the architect. Like that's
Well,
what he
I
was. He was
didn't
a
actually.
combination of those three characters.
Yeah, I wish I could credit the person who actually said effectuator, but it was on one of the Facebook groups. But I wish I could credit that person. But when they said it, I was like, yes, yes.
Yes, Neil Patrick Harris is Barney from How I Met Your Mother. He is also known as Doogie Howser, MD, for us real old folks. Um, yeah, no, I thought he did a great job. I was very, very happy with his performance. In fact, I was happy with a lot of people's performance.
Mm-hmm.
Even some of the smaller roles. I mean, and don't get me wrong, we all know that I'm biased. It's not even Wednesday, and she's my crush every day of the week. But Lexi, oh my god, home run with those little bit of lines she had. I was like when she said certain stuff, like what she say, yeah, and I know you could relate when she was talking about how she's only here because of Trinity.
Oh, yeah.
What? I felt that.
Girls, same.
I felt that.
Yeah, that was actually the most character development in the shortest amount of time between her and Neo. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was a really good scene.
Um. All right. So we're talking about the analyst, right?
Yes.
So the first meeting with the analyst, right? He's explaining how Smith, or rather, how Thomas
Matt.
Anderson perceives Smith as closing his mouth, right?
Yes. And they mention how Thomas has come a long way because he wouldn't always open up about these things.
Okay, now even though I've seen it 4 times, I'm not remembering. Right. So in that particular case, does Neo just wake up there?
I think he just had an appointment.
Right. I think that's like a normal showing.
I think that was a normal appointment. The second one, he was just there.
Right. Which I think then is implied that when he says, remember he's talking about the first time we met.
Mm-hmm.
I'm connecting that dot to Bugs and the James McTeague stepping off of the rooftop.
Mm-hmm.
Like she said, he never fell, so he didn't fall because he ended up in the analyst office.
And you see that later when they try to unplug him, and the analyst is trying to pull him back to quote unquote reality.
Such a cool scene.
Totally.
Oh man.
So every time Tom like tries to kill himself, does he come back with a different DSI?
Interesting question, because
Possibly.
clearly the DSI that he sees in the mirror is not James McTeague. I definitely picked up on that.
I read somewhere that it's Carrie Ann's husband.
Wait, what's Carrie Ann's husband? The guy playing
the old guy.
old Neo?
Old Neo. Yeah.
Really?
Can't confirm or
what's the name,
deny. I'm gonna
Roy?
go.
Hold on. Well, isn't her
Stephen Roy, right?
I would say Roy's her married last name, right? I can check.
I'm going to check right now. You talk. I'll go do it.
Okay. So
I got it. I'm invested. I'll get it.
So where were we then? Since I'm talking right now,
Jonathan Morris says yes.
Analyst,
right? Analyst office. Right, because we were talking about that whole first meeting thing. So once we see deja vu. Is there any other thing from that first analyst meeting, Vesuvius, that jumped out at you?
Not really. I think I felt like it was kind of establishing, but nothing really that jumps out at me that I want to call back to for this conversation.
Right, but you mentioned the DSI changing, and I'm trying to remember if it was a Bugs line, but I definitely got the impression that it keeps changing.
It is her husband.
Oh wow, yeah, no, I definitely got the impression that the RSI changed more than just that one time, and that was part of why it was so hard to find him.
And I think that's why that change exists, why it's the digital instead of residual, because residual is referring to you creating your own image, and the digital is like that output that the machines are doing. That's how I interpreted it, at least.
Now, Neil Patrick Harris asks him if he wants him to up his prescription, which he says, or refill his prescription, rather. And then the blue pill starts the whole treadmill thing, where he's in this loop of just working on the game. Now, I definitely got some Goliath time manipulation vibes there.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, it was subtle, but I definitely think it's there if you want to pick up on it.
Did you pick up that Tom was eating a steak?
Yes. I mentioned earlier in the chat, someone asked if Cypher was in the movie, which he's not, but there is that little bit of a reference, if you remember it.
Yep.
Did you also notice that in those loops, Thomas sets up 2 coffee cups at his window, and he's toasting someone when he's eating the steak?
I noticed the 2 coffee cups. I did not notice a toast.
Well, he does a little toast gesture with the steak on his fork.
Okay.
Practicing for a date? I don't know.
It's Tyler Durden.
You know what I should have pulled up? Do I still have it here? I do. What is that? What is it? The song list or score list or whatever. That's a great thing to use to, I guess, for an outline of what scenes are in what order. or score list. I don't even know what you call that.
Just open up the soundtrack on Spotify.
Well, the soundtrack is different though. There's songs on the soundtrack that aren't in the film, right?
I know, but the movie score is in order on Spotify.
Okay. Yeah, no, I bought it on Amazon Music, so it's like different.
Oh, okay.
But
What are you looking for exactly?
Just the order of the scenes, like how you have the DVD chapters or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, I have a hard time remembering what was in what order.
Two the same, meeting Trinity, it's in my mind.
Where you have that? Send me that link, yeah.
On Spotify.
You and your fancy music apps.
Because you get the opening, two in the same, meeting Trinity, it's in my mind, I fly or I fall, set and setting into the train. I don't know how far you want me to keep going. I can keep going.
You talk, I'll type.
Pardon?
You talk, I'll
just
type.
Keep talking. Okay. Set and setting, into the train, exit the pod, the dojo, enter IO, inside IO, escape broadcast death, exiles, factory fight, bullet time, recruiting, infiltration, I like tests, I can't be her, simulate brawl, swarm, skyscrape, my dream ended here. Neo Trinity theme.
See, right, because I just searched for Spotify and some random ass Resurrections playlist came up with everything out of order.
I'll send you the link.
I got
Check
it.
in your Discord.
I got it. I'm already there. So right now we are so early in this. I think
4 hour stream. 4 hour stream.
I think we're on It's in My Mind. Well, like somebody said in the chat, we don't have to cover everything in one night. And you know,
also true.
This channel is definitely about, you know, breaking down everything. So if we don't get there tonight, we don't.
I do want to say quickly before we move on from the analyst. On November 30th, I predicted that the cat was going to be named Deja Vu, and I am riding this high that I was right.
I mean, you were right, but I wasn't going to challenge that. I've called it the Deja Vu Kitty since the original Matrix. So.
Yeah, but I gave it a name. I did also say it was Trinity's cat, though, so it was only half right. But still, I'm taking it.
I mean, at some point, I think it becomes Trinity and Neo's cat, but we'll have to see.
Fanfic in the works from some other people.
Or it might, if there's more Matrix movie, we'll see. I don't know.
There better be.
So, right. So after the Goliath flavored blue pill time manipulation loop treadmilling,
we find the modal's been deleted.
Not only has the modal been deleted, but I was going to say inside the modal, Morpheus talks about a similar treadmill, which I thought was interesting because Neo had him looping inside the modal and the analyst has Neo looping inside the Matrix. So blue pills, dump the blue pills in the sink. I'm tired of taking these pills. I fly or I fall. I couldn't see what he was sipping on. I wanted to see what
we haven't talked about the assault on his office building.
Fair. Okay, right.
Because that comes after the looping.
Yeah.
And he gets the text from Morpheus.
Which, how cute was that?
Love it.
I mean, and since we're gonna give you props and pat you on the back for your Deja Vu Kitty, how you like that text messaging in Beyond the Glitch when Morpheus hits up Neo with a text message? Like, I didn't know that.
It's
you know what I'm saying?
It's like you knew.
Oh, I feel like after seeing that, I feel like I was locked up with Lana, like for real. Like the door is a portal, the text message, yeah, there was a couple different things in there where I was like, oh, for real? And I didn't even see it. Okay. So let's talk about the raid on Deus Machina, if you want to call it. Oh, right. So right.
That's important. We don't have to talk about everything, but we can't skip that.
We can't skip that for one, because this is like my wheelhouse, right? Where is it? I'm gonna find it. It's in here somewhere. I got pictures. I thought I had pictures. Oh, I have a lot of pictures. That's the problem. I has found it. So let's blow that up. So for those of you who didn't catch it, can you see my screen? Am I sharing the screen?
Oh, yeah,
Boom.
there it
I
is.
don't see it
There
yet.
it is. So this.
I loved that.
So who's this, guys?
I know,
Anybody
but
know
I
who that
forget.
is?
Tell the fans, tell the listeners.
So the guy who says that or tells Thomas and or who thinks that we might have gotten swatted, and that's why they have to evacuate the building. That is John Gaeta, father of Bullet Time. And the guy whose LinkedIn profile was updated to work on the Unreal Engine Matrix Awakens and Animatrix 2.0. So I love stuff like that. I love, like I said, Chad being Chad, John Gaeta working for the video game company when he's working on Matrix video games in real life, just meta on Matrix Family on Matrix Family. And honestly, I wanted to point this out just because like Gaeta, I don't think he gets enough credit, like I don't think his name is said enough. Like I think he should get the same love, if not more, than Don Davis type stuff. I mean, I get it that Davis is music and Gaeta is special effects, but I mean that was a grand slam with Bullet Time, as they meta mentioned in the movie. But yeah, so he's in that scene, which I got a kick out of. And let me actually go away from this just to see what the next picture is. Right, we talked about the text messaging here from Morpheus, which he thinks is Jude at the time that he's getting the text message. Obviously, a callback to the original Matrix when Lawrence Fishburne Morpheus calls Neo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the door at the end of the hall.
Yeah, go now.
Right. And again, Glitch, who is this? Who are you? Like so close. I love it.
It's like they stole your idea.
But they couldn't. But that's the thing. It'd have to be. It's like in that waking life sense that once somebody has the idea, they're just out there.
What is that? Rule 34 on the internet?
I mean, maybe I'm in Lana Wachowski's Sense 8 cluster. I don't know. These are all things worthy of investigation moving forward. Okay, so now we've got Mr. Anderson in the bathroom and
another bomb suit going on.
Oh,
He looks so good in this movie.
Yaya's costume designer or whoever was picking these suits for this brother was playing no games.
They went off.
Yeah, they came to work. Like we're doing this today.
Yep.
Yeah, his suit game was on point. But yeah, this is a lot of meta jokes and stuff like that. But right, well, you said it was important, so why don't you tell the class why this scene is so important, and then Vesuvius and I can piggyback.
Okay, well, it's important because this is the first contact they attempted to do with Neo/Thomas.
Right after breaking out of the modal, right?
After breaking, yeah, and that's what I was going to mention next. Thomas doesn't believe it's real. Right. Because he literally coded this Morpheus. So how is this Morpheus out of his modal? And the modal, I know we're not talking too much about it today, but was created as a cry for help from Thomas, is how I see it. As a, just in case I'm not crazy, here's this modal. And if I'm not crazy, Morpheus will get out and he'll help me. So we have that. We also get the connection of the fact that Morpheus officially is working with the crew on the Nemesine.
Correct. Now, would you say that this was a subconscious thing on the part of Tom or conscious?
I like to think it's conscious because I think there's still a part of him that thinks that maybe he's not crazy.
We don't use that word in here.
I'm not in here.
Are you not in here?
But I like to think it's like a last-ditch cry for help because we do know they explain in the movie that a modal is used to advance, improve programs. right? So I think it was like a last cry for help, that if he's not wrong, that he's not making stuff up, that Morpheus will get out of the program and then help him.
V?
I liked how he refers to Morpheus as Morpheus Uno,
Mm-hmm.
which you have the subtitle up, so I'm glad that kind of worked out. It was like I feel like it was intentionally odd for him to walk into a bathroom and then a guy comes out of a stall and tries to give him some pills.
Well, if you're gonna say that, I gotta highlight this comment. John says something about New Morpheus's line about coming out of a bathroom stall was iffy to me.
Right?
Well, that's what I think. Like I said, meta jokes and stuff. But that's what I think was interesting about his line. After he addresses that or references it directly. I don't have that specific subtitle up, but he said, "Tragedy or farce." So to quote Morpheus in this film, well, what kind of choice is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like either one is negative. So again, I feel like this is like this still unique meta space that we're playing with. So at least for me, that might be why it felt, or at least how do I put it? For me, that line reinforced the idea that it was iffy by design, or at least acknowledging the weirdness of it all. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off though, Vesuvius, as far as bathroom stuff.
No, I think it was just interesting that they touch base with Neo and he turns them down, and then I think after this we end up in the architect's office.
Mm-hmm. And we do
Or,
see a
I'm
lot
sorry,
of those.
the analyst.
Yeah, they see a lot of those PTSD coping mechanisms, right? Because part of PTSD is not being able to differentiate or separate things that happened in the past and the present. So you see a lot of these little coping mechanisms where Thomas is trying to feel the tips of his fingers, or you see the image of him running his fingers over his jeans constantly, trying to keep himself in the present moment. And he does this in this scene as well. He immediately starts rubbing his fingers together, talking about how this isn't real.
So speaking of things that aren't real quick, I just want to address this because I see it in the chat here. He says, wait, so Morpheus played Agent Smith at the beginning of the movie. So we talked about this in prep. I'm actually working on a video specifically about that. So that's why I'm not, we're not even a quarter of the way through the movie yet. So I didn't want to focus all the time on explaining that. But, after I'd say the third viewing, that really, really made sense to me. And I know that for some, like, it was confusing for me. I'm going to be honest with you, the first viewing. So yeah, I'm going to do a video on that. Hopefully it'll be out by tomorrow. But all will be explained and answered. And shout out to Kavion. I see you in the room. He says Niobe compared Princess Leia on the Matrix Resurrections. But yeah, so I'm sorry, Trinity, you were saying about the bathroom?
Which part specifically? I said a lot of things about the bathroom.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt or cut you off.
Oh, yeah.
Going
no,
forward with the bathroom.
I was just mentioning the tools, methods that Thomas continues, thank you, stimming, I guess, and trying to bring himself back into that present moment of, I can feel myself, I am real. But then that makes him even more confused, because there's the little part where Morpheus says, I am real, touch my arm, right? And he does so, and he's physically there.
Is he though?
Well, you know what I mean, though. Like, it's that whole idea of, like, the analyst.
I had to. You left that door open. I'm going to step through it.
I know. But the analyst straight up teaches Thomas these coping skills and strategies, and then Morpheus comes in and says, "Well, I'm also here."
Not only is he also here, he sticks his hand through a mirror.
That too.
Yeah, which I thought was awesome. I love the mirror portal stuff. I've talked about
Me
that in
too.
many live
So
streams, but
fun. So fun.
it's a lot of fun for me. And I know I'm jumping ahead just briefly though. You know, like I said, with the Patrick Harris mirror thing, and then you see the scene from the original Matrix behind it, where his body like is consumed by the mirror or T1000 kind of look. And that's the scene where I wish they had used the mirror the way they use it in Resurrections, and they're showing that scene while using it the way that I wish that they used it in the original. Just like, what? Like, I loved it. I loved it. It was so good. It was like it was as if someone had been in like a lecture of Neo-Ologist or two. I don't know. So all right, so bathroom stuff we're talking about. Well, I think I've snuck in most of the stuff that stood out to me. Um, you know, right, I talked about the treadmill parallel earlier, and you know, Morpheus or Agent Morpheus or Yaya's Morpheus, whatever you want to call that, talks about going crazy in this tiny modal. And you know, like I said, there's already that parallel there. So I think that, you know, there's a point of relation that Thomas has with this new Morpheus in terms of his current situation. That's kind of why I asked you if you thought it was conscious or subconscious. You know, I think that the analyst kind of hints at it being a conscious decision later on. Okay, so here's something that I noticed. Maybe not until the third or fourth viewing. And it's Morpheus, and he's definitely a sim inside the Matrix. Where did that machine gun come from?
Inside the suit. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I had to
He's
guess,
a program. He can.
that's what I'm saying. If I had to guess, he just programmed I got a gun.
And you know what? That's the story, and I'm sticking to it because I like that.
I'm okay with it.
I can suspend belief and assume that he just
that's saying that
made it appear.
that sim Morpheus, that program Morpheus can just make guns in the Matrix. I have no problem with that.
If he's a program, the construct is everything then, so he can just do it. I'm with you on it.
Vesuvius, did you have any more bathroom observations? Take your time. There's no rush.
Not really.
All right, so let me pull up.
Just kind of looking around, and I mean, nothing really relevant that I've, you know, that I can see there.
Right. So, well, I'm looking at my Spotify list, right? So I fly or I fall. So, right, we already talked about after. Oh no, this is what we skipped.
Though.
Yes,
we need Smith still.
This is what we skipped. Smith, right? Or rather, I like to call this the awakening of Smith.
That's exactly how I see it.
Yeah,
that's the word that I was used to.
So, if you see it the same way, what brought that about, or what made you feel that?
Well, I felt it had parallels to the fight in Revolutions. An impossible amount of water. Neo's on the ground because he can't fight anymore. Now we have the sprinklers going, impossible amount of water. Thomas is on the ground because he doesn't know he can fight, if he even can. And this Smith coding, something wakes up in him when he sees the gun on the floor as if he's seen this before.
Vesuvius, did you have anything you wanted to throw in on that?
Yes, I do. See, as Neo is awakening to the Matrix again, so is Smith. So that equation
connected,
is
right?
balancing. As one begins to awaken, so does the other. and it just so happens that he has he sees the Desert Eagle handgun, and that's like the thing that kind
His
of
gun, yeah.
wakes him up.
So I am looking for. Do you remember which conversation we were talking about your theory about all this all this Smith resurrections business? Do you probably don't remember which conversation it was? We had so many leading into this.
Oh, I think we had at least two. Probably the last live and the one before that.
Because I'm looking for the image that I know. Because here's the scene, but this isn't the shot that I want. So I'll just put this on the screen while I look. Because you had a theory about this that I honestly don't think was that far off the mark. I really want to find the picture though, just because I think it's a really good visual to go with what I want to say. Is there?
Is that where all of the Smiths are trying to copy over Morpheus?
Correct.
I think it's on my Instagram if you have access.
All right, let's try that way. More than one way to skin a cat. Bear with me 1 second here as I pull up Vesuvius's Instagram. Okay. Oh yeah, you've been posting a lot, my brother.
I feel like less often. So.
Well, no, I mean you said it's on your Instagram. I'm like, where? I couldn't have possibly passed it. No way. No chance, dude. Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
So I want to say it is from.
Did you might have just put it on your story.
No, December 8th. It's near like the cheat codes and the pods and.
So it's way before that White Hallways picture, right?
Sorry.
Hallway.
Is it not the first picture? Is it like a series of pictures?
Yeah, it's like a couple of pictures in one.
Okay, found it. There we go. Let's get this on the screen here. Okay, so this is from Vesuvius' Instagram, and he's got that scene in the White Hallways where all the Smiths are attacking Neo and Morpheus before they make it to the architect. And Smith is copying himself onto Morpheus. We know that Neo saves Morpheus before Smith completely takes over him, but you can see how far Smith got, right? Like, I mean, that thing's in his brain, right? And we know that not only was Neo there, but Neo created this simulated version of Morpheus by combining his memories of Morpheus and Smith.
He used the two men that shaped him into who he was.
So when you're talking about the awakening and Smith staring at the gun, I think and this is just my theory, there's no dialogue to support this, but this picture really, I think, shows it. I feel like part of that awakening was because the Morpheus sim that Neo created, that is created out of the idea of Morpheus and Smith, was in the same room as the actual Smith. And I think that really triggered him and really helped him wake up. Like I said, the rain, his favorite gun, and there's this like coded Smith energy in the room all of a sudden. And he just snapped. So yeah, I don't know if that was by design, but I definitely felt like it was in there.
Yeah, there's something to be said about proximity. We've talked about
Yes.
Neo and Trinity feeding off each other when they're close to one another. The analyst even says it outright. They have to stay close, but not too close. And it's possible here too.
I like that proximity for sure. I definitely feel like the proximity to even a part of him really pushed him over the deep end. Among all the chaos. So we covered the bathroom, right? We covered the Smith transition, and then, like you said, this time Neo doesn't walk to the analyst; he just appears there.
Yes, we can only assume he was pulled through a mirror, perhaps, like he was later on, or like he is later on, I suppose. Maybe.
Well, no.
Maybe not.
Well, because what I'm trying to think, was there an explosion?
I
feel like
he was just on the ground and Smith had the gun to his head.
Oh, no, the deja vu kitty.
Oh yes, the cat.
It was the cat, yeah.
So
the cat showed up at the game development office,
and the next thing you know, he's in the analyst office. Right. He said, "I heard deja vu and you were at my door."
It kind of reminds me of Constantine, where they use the cats as portals.
And not that he didn't say it before, but he even recently said that he wants to do Constantine again, which I fully support.
Me too.
For whatever reason. Movie. Yeah, no, it was great. It was a great movie. I think there's more Constantine in the Matrix than Inception, for damn sure. But
sure.
But yeah, from what I know, it was one of those studio decisions in terms of why they haven't made more, but everybody who made it wants to make more. So hopefully this will help with that. We'll see. But we digress. So right now I fly or I fall, right?
Yes.
Unless there's something in that second analyst conversation somebody wanted to address. Because I kind of already talked about the first time you met me thing.
Yeah, well, they go over the fact that like there was no attack. The messages are erased. If we drove to your office, you wouldn't find anything. Everything is fine.
Right, because the deja vu kitty cleaned everything up.
Exactly.
Means they changed something.
Yep.
Right, so that's what I was going to say before, when he dumps all his blue pills after the whole White Rabbit montage of him being stuck in the Goliath-like time loop, working on the new trilogy with Jude and everyone else. He dumps the blue pills. He's tired of that, and switches to old-fashioned alcohol. And like that's what I was gonna say. I didn't get to see what he was sipping on the roof there.
Looks like vodka.
Vodka, maybe tequila, clear something. I hope it's not rum, but either way, this is where he meets Bugs. And Bugs explains that she had seen him before with the James McTeague DSI.
At the Game Award? Or not awards, but after party?
Or after party. So, right. And you can see there as she's wiping the windows, which is a callback to the original Matrix, and even in the Morpheus scene, when he's at the coffee shop looking out the window. I mean, it's actually all over the movie. Like even in the modal, you can see the code when you see the water on the windows or running down walls, or like that's everywhere in the film. Right. So she shares that story and she shares her tattoo. I love how he delivers that. Okay.
Did you see the picture Jessica Henwick posted on her stories of the entire sleeve.
Yeah, she posted one where it shows the artist like drawing it on her too.
Mm-hmm. And they have little Alice in Wonderland motifs down it. It's a shame we didn't get to see the whole thing in the movie.
But right. She says you're gonna have to follow me. He says okay.
Okay.
And that portal takes him to where?
Tokyo.
Right.
Tokyo on the train because it's harder to track a moving portal.
Train part 1.
Yep.
And then from there, they end up where? Oh, right. Set and setting. Right. From there, they end up on where we see the cutscenes from the game. And Yaya, or the new Morpheus, the Morpheus Sim, the Morpheus Codec, whatever you want to call him, offers him the red pill again. The first time he offered it to him was in the bathroom, and he declined. That was actually pretty funny too. Right, but he actually takes it this time, and now that brings us to the portal with NPH, with the analyst trying to pull him through. Right, we already talked about the DSI stuff. Right, so in the trailers, because of the lighting, I thought that Sati was in that scene, but turns out she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was going to say. I was actually surprised that she didn't have any dialogue in the Matrix. I feel like there was some, and it probably just got cut. It just seemed very weird to me. That was something that I noticed. It was like, it seemed like kind of out of place a little bit. But again, it's already 2.5 hours. Like just like Daniel Bernhardt. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice your children in the editing room. Know that feel. So what else is there in set and setting? Is there anything else? I think we covered a lot of the important stuff from that scene already.
Nothing that we haven't covered already is coming to mind.
Right. So when the analyst is trying to pull him through, that's when, the SWAT and everything shows up and they jump back on the train.
Mm-hmm.
And we get our first taste of swarm mode.
It did not disappoint. I liked the chaotic fight scene.
Yes. It made sense on such a small space, moving so quickly.
Yeah, moving target, right? And I definitely enjoyed like I said, the action of that scene. You've seen action on train scenes before, train sequences in other films, but I thought this was certainly unique. And then the whole Keanu Reeves taking the pill, and then Seek saying that the mirror is the only way off the train,
and that they won't fit.
Like, think perspective. The closer you get, the bigger it gets. But right. But like you said, if you don't do that, you stuck. So
Yeah.
either go through it or die.
And of all people, Thomas figures it out.
Well, yeah. By then, he took the pill and he just wants out.
Yeah.
Get me out of here. I'm not trying to get shot.
And I like how they play with the idea of he's not as, or not at all, he's not against taking the pill this time, because everything he's seeing is confirming all of these hallucinations he's had. It's not just him who knows of these things.
So he jumps in, and we talked about this in the live streams from looking at the leaked trailers and things. He goes through the train portal and ends up in the real world. He sees Trinity in her pod. Sabebe quickly picks him up and takes him to the Nemesine. Yeah, we come back to the Anomalium later. I don't know if there was anything in there that really jumped out to me. But yeah, I thought it was cool that the bots picked him up and saved him and kind of stealthily got him out of there. I thought that was a nice touch. Because looking, at the shot of the ladybug looking machine from the trailer, I thought that thing was like the size of a ship. Like I thought that was the size of like a hovercraft or the Nemesis, So when I saw like the perspective size of them, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't see that coming. But right, so baby brings him back to the Nemesis. So here's one thing that I think keeps coming up there. I've seen people comment, oh, well, how come Neo, just like in the original film, he had to, the atrophied and they had to put all the needles in him and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why didn't you have to do that this time? And I'm thinking, well, what you're talking about was 60 years ago, at least.
The pods are different. They had to make these pods special.
Right, but they also, they've also only aged 20 years in the real world when everyone else is age 60. So there is a line. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it. I'm going to try to find it. But I believe it's supposed to be at least trying to address that. Right. But basically, I think it's Roland's granddaughter saying his vitals.
No,
his
not
vitals
Roland.
are strong.
Fowler. No, yeah, Roland. Roland. Sorry.
No, it's Roland.
Continue.
Roland.
Yeah. Continue.
But she said something about his vitals being strong, but then that's when we find out that he's going through withdrawals from not being in the Matrix. But the point that I was making is, not only do we have a situation where there are actual doc bots on the Nemesis, so they're being cared for by more than just Maggie from Revolutions, right? You've got 60 years of advanced tech and a Neo and Trinity who are designed to either age slower or live longer, or however you want to word that. So to me, that's not necessarily a big deal. The fact that, they were pulled out of the pods and could move right away. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find that line. Because like I said, unfortunately, this isn't like, it's just like a subtitle version of the transcript. So not everything has a name, so I can't even like search for it by her character name.
You want the Roland conversation?
Oh, I found it. She says, quote, his vital systems have been meticulously maintained.
So they were taking care of him.
Right. So the machines kept them physically up to whatever standard, good enough to be able to open your eyes when you're pulled out of a pod. So there.
Yeah. But his brain is still hooked to.
Oh yeah, I definitely thought that was a opioid kind of subtext,
like withdrawal. Yeah.
Yeah. What Morpheus say?
Is addicting.
Yeah. Morpheus in the construct said, but it worked. He said, my bad. Right now for the bad news, your brain is hooked to the Matrix has been forced. Your brain is hooked on this crap the Matrix has been force feeding you for years. Hooked bad. You're going through major withdrawals. Right. He said doc bots are giving you crap odds to survive. I got a good chuckle out of that one. Right, but they don't know you like I do. I know exactly what you need. So right, that's when they go into the dojo. But is there any construct thoughts? I mean, because going into this thing in previous live streams, I said that I had strong construct vibes. So this callback should not have shocked anybody who was listening to us back then. But was there anything about the crib you guys wanted to point out before we move on to the dojo itself?
Morpheus looked real cool.
Right, that's the blue suit. Do I have a
blue
picture
suit
of that?
with like the 70s paisley underneath?
Yes.
Well, I don't know if you've seen what is it, the Get Down that Yaya's in on Netflix?
I haven't, but I will add it to my list.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I get it. That, you know, there's a costume designer in each place that should get some props, but he's pulling it off, man. The boy can wear dope clothes, especially with that, like I said, that kind of 70s color flair to it. It's a vibe. Is my screen up? Okay, yeah.
So good.
There we go. Yeah, it's
Takes a
definitely
drink.
got some
It's got
70s
drip.
pimp energy. Right. So then they go from here to the dojo.
Yeah, the TV is a little bit different too.
I noticed that. Do I have a shot of that? I might not have a shot of that. I have a shot of the TV, but not where you can see that it's different.
Yeah.
Because it's different in the, like, just underneath the screen. Like there's like some buttons and stuff below that.
I probably got a few more minutes before I'm gonna have to
tap out. Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, we don't have to cover it all today. Where should I don't know? Should we bookmark? Because I did want to. Let's see, where are we? Oh yeah, we're on. If you're gonna count the score as chapters, we're on chapter 8.
They're like 30.
At least 24.
20, 24. 20. I would argue 25.
Okay. See,
with the theme at the
okay.
end.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
still,
okay.
That's a lot. We're not
It's
even
a lot. All right, so maybe we can pause here then. Because what I was gonna say is I definitely wanted to ask you about Glitch, you know, because you were there.
Yeah. So Glitch was your short film, your fanfic, and so, boy, where to start?
Well, let's start with, if anybody hasn't seen it, it's live on the channel. It's been live since Project Matriculated ended. I tried to set up for 12:21 a.m. YouTube wouldn't let me. They said 15 or 30, so I picked 30. But yeah, it's
Hey,
live. It's a
Can we
live
do
video
watch
right
party
now.
for that?
What's that?
Can we do a watch party for that? Like an online watch party?
Sure, that's an idea.
We should.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
then,
let's do that.
Because we got 40, 50 people watching us now, and it's midnight, so that's yeah. Let's do that. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was well acted. Um, the special effects were very good for a film like this, and it was tense. It was tense. So like when I was watching Resurrections, I found myself like leaning forward. Like both times I watched, I'm like leaning forward. I'm like trying to like absorb everything, and that's how it was when I was watching Beyond the Glitch. So your Agent Gold was very good. uh, not exactly a Smith impression, but that agent vibe. He nailed it. He nailed it. And Cat was very good. It was a good tense movie, and I definitely want the next chapter in the story.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you for coming out first and foremost, and I also appreciate you for helping. You know, you made some graphics that were up there, so that was like really clutch. Shit, damn it! I'm just not gonna stop now. Right? I hope we're well beyond the YouTube scanners, but anyway, right? No, you definitely helped with the thumbnail as well. So, like, seriously, appreciate all your energy and time and work that went into that project. Yeah, and your feedback. I'm glad that it was engaging for you. That was like really awesome to hear. We got a super chat real quick here. Lorenzo Dawkins, thank you for the super chat. It says, any event footage from the club, and thank y'all for what you do. Looking forward to more videos, fan films, and Matrix 4 talk. And you will get all of the above except for the footage from the club. Unfortunately, the videographer did not make it, and I was like I had 6, maybe 7 different hats on that night. So I'm gonna post a couple pictures. I did take a couple of pictures. Right, and one that I know I'm going to post is this question: did someone dress as the lady in red at the party? No, but there was a succubus sighting. So that's a red dress.
Yeah,
But
there was.
that was a Matrix Online sighting, not a woman in red sighting. So there was that. And real quick before you go, I wanted to plug. Didn't you post a like a 5-hour Code Rain thing on your YouTube channel?
Yes, I did. So, for Christmas, everybody's got like the fireplace in the background. So I decided I was going to make a Matrix Christmas green and red Matrix code raining. So put that on, and I know quite a few people had that up. People were sending me pictures like, "Hey, man, I got it in the background for my Christmas party." So it was very cool. So next year, everybody's gonna have it. It'll be another Matrix Christmas next year.
Put it on top of a fireplace next time. Then you get best of
Yeah,
both worlds.
that's right.
All right, man. Like I said, I know you got an early day tomorrow. Real quick, I saw a comment here. If I can find it. Oh boy. Okay, he says talk about the robot versus robot civil war before you go, please. We're almost there, right?
Yeah, well, we
Yeah,
talked about it a
Getting
little
there.
bit.
yeah, we're at the dojo, so we're like literally right. In fact, no,
We're
doesn't
we're pretty we're getting there. They have to get to IO still.
not well. Didn't Bugs start talking about it, or did only Niobe? I
I
guess
thought it was Niobe.
Niobe gives you the meat and potatoes, but didn't Bugs like bring it up or something, or she
I
just
thought Bugs tried to keep everything more positive on the good things that came from what Neo did. And Niobe was the one who mentioned the Civil War and the scarcity and
yeah? So well, yeah, Niobe definitely is the clip of them fighting for sure.
it is, but I think that's one that gets talked about. I'll double check.
And they show it too when Niobe's talking.
Right.
You know, they definitely don't talk about that. They talk about how, or Bugs and Neo talk about how they turn his life into something trivial. That's what the Matrix does.
Well, what I was gonna say about it, just while we still got Vesuvius here, and we can double back on the dojo next time. Um, so right, we saw machine on machine violence in the Matrix Online, but that was the General versus the Machine City, right? So Zion didn't necessarily witness that, right? Vesuvius, that's a fair statement, right?
Yeah, that's a fair statement. The cool thing about the general character was that he had a way to hack into the Matrix, so he could be a program running around the mega city looking like a person, and then he could like jack out and be in his sentinel body and go blow shit up, and that's what they did.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty straightforward. What the only thing that I didn't figure out is if the green-eyed thing lines up to what we had seen previously in the Revolutions remaster and in Matriculated.
Well, Sabebe still has red eyes, right?
Correct. Well, that's the thing though. All the machines we see in Resurrections have red eyes no matter which side they're on.
Yeah,
So, and
might not
also
matter.
when Jessica Henwick, Bugs' character, is explaining how they got Neo out, she said Sabebe got exiled for getting Neo out.
Yep.
So yeah, so but that's the thing though. In the Civil War shot, we see red versus green.
Yes, we
So,
do. I can't
so
wait for for The Matrix Resurrections Revisited. Behind the
Can't wait.
So, but does that mean that the red eyes won and that every machine from that point had to switch back to red? Or, that's a question that I have about that. But otherwise, I felt like it was pretty straightforward. I mean, Niobe explained that there was scarcity because of the truce. Machines started fighting on machines because there wasn't enough energy to go around for everybody. I don't think that's what the architect meant by there are levels of survival that we're prepared to accept, but that's how it played out. Did you guys have any particular Civil War observations or thoughts?
Thought it was interesting that Niobe was on the surface watching it.
Oh, well, Zion's got to be nosy.
Oh, yeah.
So what's all that noise up there?
But considering no one had been there within 100 miles until Neo and Trinity, and then how quickly Niobe's just up there snooping around, seeing what's going on.
Well, what I was going to say is the hair, because we had the hair conversation in a previous live stream. So the hair from the interview is the hair from her, the younger Niobe, seeing the Civil War.
Yes.
So
she said it took 4 hours of VFX makeup to do that too, to age her. So
once again, though, we were both right.
Yep.
Non-linear Matrix universe. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Civil War was pretty straightforward. I don't know if you have a specific question about it. If you asked and I already missed it, I'm sorry. Pink Panther says, who was that woman hugging on Niobe? That was the Aunt Rachel character. I believe her name was Freya in the movie, but it's played by actress Toma Hopkins. And she appeared to be would that make her a botanist?
Yes, she was the lead botanist.
Right, lead botanist. So and as Jessica Henwick, or excuse me, Bugs pointed out, Niobe is all about the fruit right now. So
yep. Don't want to eat the slop that tastes like rust.
So is that a nod to Miller's Tale with the agriculture?
For sure. I didn't think of that before, but yeah, the whole young Morpheus Matrix comic, or cameo, I should say. I wouldn't call it his whole comic, but that's a Paul Chadwick with the bread. A Joker who brought up the machines, he said they said something about humans not being able to recharge the machines as much. And yeah, so with that era of the truce, and see, to me, I feel like that would specifically be referring to the Matrix Online era in terms of, people being able to unplug freely and whenever they want, and that wasn't able to sustain the output of power they were used to. That was also the architect's version of the Matrix, so it wasn't as manipulative as the analyst versions, so they weren't getting as much power as they are now. But either way, it was an unplanned scenario, so unfortunately for the machines, they had to have a civil war to adjust and balance things out for themselves. So the comment says civil war is inevitable. The machines will probably end up needing resources and forced to harvest humans or something. So I guess what I like about it is, if we're talking hive mind, which I feel like is kind of like a question mark still at the end of Revolutions. I mean, you still have Ramachandra and Sati's parents, right? But after that, you're not really seeing a whole lot of machine individualism until the Matrix Online. But the Civil War takes that hive mind thing out of it. Machines can choose in the real world. If it's a hive mind, there is no civil war because you just follow orders. And that's not to say that there isn't a hive mind element, but there's also an individual choice element. And that's what I think is important here. That, like Niobe said, the machines chose sides amongst themselves, which is something that they had never seen before. Now, we saw that with the General's troop. So that's what I mean. Like in the Matrix Online, we see that individuality amongst the machines and that disagreement over how revolutions played out. Um, and that's again what I meant about, as somebody said in the chat, echoed the resurrections echoing the Matrix Online. I mean, that energy was definitely captured with that fight with the general's troops and the machines in the real world on the surface. So we've seen it a little bit before, but and it was just a real quick mention in terms of Niobe's flashbacks in Resurrections. But like Bug said, what Neo really changed was what our side meant and allowed a future where there were machines and humans who wanted to work together. As Sati mentions, the building of IO was important for both the Synthians and humans to work together and protect each other. So yeah, all that came out of Neo sacrifice. So yeah, like I said before, I understand that you got an early morning and we are well over the 2 hour mark. So I know you got a boogie V. But if there's anything you wanted to plug or mention before you go, please do not hesitate.
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram at VesuviusMXO. That's where I do most of my online exploits, daily Matrix content.
Yep, and I'm on Twitter under Red Queen Trinity. I'm under Rain a While on AO3. Recently put out one that I'm really proud of, so you should check it out. And yeah, that's about it.
Well, thank you as always for joining us. We're gonna have to find a time to pick this up and continue going through the scenes and sharing our reactions and observations. In the meantime, between time, you guys should definitely go watch Beyond the Glitch. Like I said, it's live on the channel right now. It was a lot of fun making it. I really enjoyed reading you guys' comments, so leave a comment.
Share it with your friends.
Yeah, definitely share it with Matrix fans. Right, thank you. That was a great transition, Trinity, because I've heard a lot of people say they want to see more. I want to make more. The fastest vehicle, the fastest way to make that possible is to get that thing mad views, man. And that I can't do by myself. I'm definitely out here trying to signal boost it, but I need all of you guys who enjoyed it, like she said, to share it with a friend, share it with a Matrix fan. Because I mean, that's the whole beauty of Project Matriculated and all that stuff for me, is that one of the positive lessons that I gathered from the Matrix trilogy, the original trilogy, and I even felt this when I left Resurrections. After those films, it makes me want to do things in the real world. Because I'm like, me personally, I'm not a simulation theorist per se. Like I think that we're in reality right now. So seeing a film like The Matrix, the original trilogy, and even Resurrections motivates me to want to be more active in my own real life. And when you're talking about Project Matriculated, an idea that was born on Matrix Twitter, with the people that was following the channel at that time, and then to be able to like actually do it, and in the process make a fan film for it to view there with other Matrix fans. Like, to me, that's like just this lesson in manifestation. And the idea is that if we share a vision, if it's not just one person seeing a vision, but multiple people seeing the same vision, that you'll get there a lot faster. So yeah, I want to make more. If you guys want to see more, like I said, just share it, watch it over and over again, get that view count up, and trust me, I will deliver more, because I had a really good time doing it and I want to make more. And yeah, so follow everybody on Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. And yeah, stay tuned with I guess, I don't know if you guys are available tomorrow night. I can probably do another one tomorrow if you guys are around. But like I said, if you're following us on Twitter, you'll definitely see when we're doing this again, to follow up on our Matrix Resurrections reactions and review spoilery conversation. And on that note, class is dismissed.